Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Meticulous Talks on October 15th, 2022. I am Chris Accords.
And I am Grand Pause.
Thank you, Grand Pause, for joining me.
Well, it only seemed right and proper, having some personal stake in this game of which we are about to discuss, or this match, I should say.
Tis so. This is going to be the fourth and final quarterfinal of the Invitational. Grand Pause is going to be playing against Istagrem. Unfortunately, Istagrem wasn't able to join us for this recording.
But I'm sure they'd be willing to add their commentary live if they're watching on Saturday.
I hope so. And he may yet come in. We'll see. But in the meantime, yes, this is going to be the fourth quarterfinal game. Have you been watching the matches so far, Grand Pause?
I have watched almost all of them. The one that I did not watch was Big Cheese versus Ivory, but the others I have all watched.
Okay. Well, yes. That one was late coming to YouTube. It's going to be up by the time that this streams live.
Then I'll get the chance to watch it then.
Indeed. How have you been liking it so far?
I have. If you were to ask me at the beginning of the tournament, before any decks had seen play, to pick my favorites for each match, with the exception of the one match that I have not seen so far, I would be wrong every time. There have been a number of upsets from what my uninformed opinion would have been, and I think that makes the upper and lower bracket of this tournament that much more interesting and will lead to some really creative play. It also shows that, hey, there's still a lot of room to explore in these metas, and that makes me feel very happy.
I'm sure it does.
As we are about to see, no less.
Indeed, yeah. On the subject of creativity, both you and Istagrem brought some real interesting stuff in your invitational lists.
Well, do we want to dive into it and take a look?
I suppose so. The first game of tonight is going to be an adventure. Would you like to expound your own deck first, or talk about your opposition?
Whatever you're prepared for.
Well, I have you in the top scene here, so...
Well, sure. Let's go into it.
All right. It is on screen now.
So, in the adventure format, looking at Istagrem's deck options, either Rarity Pink with like some showy control, or I'm trying to remember who his main was for the other deck.
I can look it up here quickly.
But I know it was orange-white with a discard sub-theme and a reanimator sub-theme.
His other deck is Grogar.
Grogar is the main. Okay, got it. So, against neither one of those decks did I feel comfortable running my Zippo list. Against Pink-White, because there's just so much removal disruption that I did not feel comfortable that I would be able to protect Zippo or Fluttershy well enough to make good use of it. And it also didn't feel like it would be that impactful, given that alongside all that removal, you've also got bodyguards there creating multiple unicorn tokens, so you can't really color lock, and it just didn't make sense as a strategy. Zippo is good against certain types of aggro and very, very good against farm, and much less good against control.
Makes sense.
Against orange-white, for similar reasons, it would be quite challenging, notably because Luna just basically makes that deck not work. And there were multiple copies. Plus, you can't effectively color lock Grogar. It becomes a lot more tricky, given that the main is always at 3 power. Like, you have to go through multiple phases or multiple priority windows. And long story short, I was going to play Burr. I was going to play BRB against either one of these decks. because, hey, dealing with high value single target threats is exactly what BRB excels at.
Pretty much, yeah. Talk about all the removal that was in Istagram's decks. The shoe is on the other hoof, I guess. If you're the one playing Pink.
Mm-hmm. So, traditional BRB control strategy, most people have seen it or heard about it by now. It's just looking at targets that, friends specifically, that have powerful enters play effects, and then trying to look for other effects like interdimensional portal or Discord Party Clasher or Luna's Future that will cause them to leave and re-enter play multiple times. And you just try to take advantage of that as much as you can. Combine this with bodyguards to make a bunch of unicorn tokens every time any friend leaves play for any reason, and some event support, and there you go.
Hmm. I get the impression looking at this that this is a fairly well tuned list, given the number of singletons that you've gotten here.
There's ideas behind this. The singletons that you see that are tuned that I can speak to would be Baby Flurry Heart for sure, and Bait and Switch and Friend to the End, all of which are powerful enters play effects, but ones that you don't really need to see multiple of because you're going to be relying on one copy of that friend over and over again more often than not. Friend to the End definitely has the strongest effect, as it can just dismiss any opposing friend when it enters play. But you also are running a deck that has 3 copies of Belly Flop and 2 copies of Smile, 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 and you've got 2 copies of Tempest Shadow and Grubber, which can just put a friend on top of your opponent's deck, which is not only good for getting it out of play, but also making them flip potentially low. So targeted friend removal, you don't really want to go overkill. Bait and Switch replaces powerful control problems and also gives Farm a massive headache. And Baby Flurry Heart, very efficient resource removal, given that most of your portal effects cost 2, and most of the resources you're going to be hitting cost 2. So it's like you get a free move and also get to blow up an opposing resource.
Hmm.
Zecora and Rush Makeover are mostly in here just because of the color entry restrictions that are present in the tournament. Rush Makeover is obviously very, very efficient, but you definitely do want to be running copies of Motivational Speech because you want to ensure that you have access to purple on your opponent's turn, and Singing Barrel and Rush Makeover cannot provide that.
Yep, all for that all-important interdimensional portal.
Yep. And, you know, Magical Misfire can also be important at immediate speed, so worth having access to.
Very true.
For the sideboard here, 1 copy of Pinky Sense, 1 copy of Smile, a copy of Forest Shaman, and 2 Happy Trees, as most of those cards are going to be useful in a farm matchup. And given that Istagrem was not running any troublemakers, they're all just a little bit less valuable. Smile, I still don't necessarily want to drop every copy because being able to find any pink friend out of your deck or discard pile is great, and there's still utility in removing an opposing friend or shuffling a problem away. Pinky Sense, again, in this case, I chose to keep in both the Wrathfuls and the Tender Taps. Wrathfuls because I'm not necessarily concerned about a high flip average, so being able to get additional portal effects is nice. And Tender Taps because I'm playing against pink. So if I'm leaving both the chaos effects in, I'd like to have some method of controlling it.
Hmm.
Happy Trees, because based on what I expected Istagram to be doing, I was not anticipating him starting a lot of face-offs unless he was already well ahead. So I didn't really need to stop him. And then Forest Shaman, because similar reason, not far.
Exactly so. You mentioned already that your opponent's not running troublemakers. Is there anything else you want to say about your deck before we switch over?
Nope. It's a tried and true strategy, and definitely room for a little bit of toolboxing based on personal choice. But overall, it's kind of what you see is what you get.
BRB. We all know it and love it, or hate it.
One of the two.
Okay, so your opponent, Instagram, opted for his rarity pink list. Now well, when I saw this list, I assumed that it is essentially teched against Luna, Bluna, that is.
Sure.
Given the cappers, well, frankly, the cappers are the cards that stood out first and foremost, and well, they're actually boarded out in this match. But also, well, Shoei as well, the Onan sandbars. It seemed like a fairly bold play, and probably a correct play given the amount of people playing Bluna in this tournament. Unfortunately, not you.
Yeah, I had to be a little bit of a rebel at least. That being said, as I discovered at one point in the middle of the games here, there's some additional synergy going on here beyond just the blue taxing. You know, obviously the cappers indicate yes, Istagrem had Bluna on his mind when he was building this list, and that's good. 3 belly flops, 3 food fights, a couple of chaos magic blasts, so you've got a bunch of immediate speed removal, which is very, very good. And then you've got this additional taxing element of movement or just prevention with Capper Dapper Paws, who's obviously a huge choice, and Plaid Stripe. All of those are great. What is especially interesting here is you have additional forms of taxing or disruption through Pinkie Pie and Rarity Deep Currents, which can mess with your opponent's moves. And I'm trying to remember, this list was not running Flurry Heart, but it did.
That's right.
But it did have Grandmares, which could generate a lot of eccentric.
Yes.
What was more interesting to me was Yona and Sandbar's second ability that forces your opponent to spend an extra action token to play cards to problems with one or more of your characters with Shoei. Normally, by itself, okay, you tax your opponent for 1, and then they've spent a card to frighten Yona and Sandbar, and then that ability, doesn't work anymore. And that's still technically true, but you have another character with Shoei here if you look at the boosted side of the main.
Yes, she's not visible because we're looking at our start side here. But yeah, on the other side, is she the only main with Shoei?
She might be the only main with Shoei keyworded. Original Rarity, I believe, had exactly Shoei. I believe it was eccentric, or I'm sorry, not eccentric, inspired and Shoei.
Right, that sounds familiar. But that doesn't work with Yona and Sandbar, does it?
It does not, because it does not specifically say Shoei. So having that other ability means that if your opponent does not have an easy means of dealing with Yona and Sandbar, and you've got things like Plaid Stripes, really pushing this out there, and Bodyguard for support on if your friends get removed, to get you some bodies and potential action tokens back. Yeah, stuff can get really expensive for your opponent.
Indeed.
And given what a key card Yona and Sandbar are in this list, it makes sense that you've also got Pinkie Pie, every pony's PFF, listed up there. Because, hey, why not find your single best piece in any given situation?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we do have a situation here where both decks are running Bodyguard. So there's a chance for many Unicorn tokens. Even more than usually happens when one guy's playing Bodyguard.
Mm-hmm. Looking at the sideboard choices here seems to make a lot of sense. Capper is not going to be doing a whole lot because I'm not moving my characters, or for that matter, usually not moving his at immediate speed during the score phase. And photo finishing Grandmares are both somewhat expensive, high-value targets that if the opponent is light on disruption can be very good, but if the opponent is heavy on disruption, they're less likely to stick around quite as long, so dropping 1 copy of each makes a lot of sense.
Indeed. So, well, I guess you already know how it turns out. But care to make a statement from the start on which deck you'd expect to be favored?
This one kind of depends. We're both running bodyguards, and bodyguards can be by far the swingiest card in this game, depending on who can take advantage of it more. And looking at just sheer events here alone, Istagrem has more friend removal at immediate speed. So if he can manage to land a bodyguards early and also remove my key friends, of which we talked about, especially those that have limited copies, to prevent me from having those ETB effects in play, it will be much harder for me. That being said, I have a greater variety of removal within the deck, and the showy did not matter to me at all and in sideboarding decisions. I was not concerned about moving my characters. I wasn't going to be moving. I was going to be playing their portaling.
All right. Sounds like a duel of removal, basically.
Yep. So let's see how it turned out.
Indeed. Let's go. So obviously it's going to be a somewhat one-sided commentary.
Will you be keeping?
But
Yes.
Why do you say that?
well, it's Istagrem is not here to defend his choices.
We can probably make some inferred decisions at least.
Sure. I believe. Are you going to mull this?
My opening hand?
Yeah.
I will keep as well. No. I am keeping this hand
Okay.
because I have two powerful interplay effects through Skystar and Flurry Heart, and also have the Bodyguard for support, along with color entry. I may not have great portaling effects. I have the one Luna's Future, and I don't have a lot of cheap immediate speed things.
Tokens.
But again, I'm not too worried about that
And
because with Rarity being on her start side for likely a while until I end up doing things, I'm not under any
tokens.
early pressure, provided that Istagrem can't find his pink entry, which he has in his opening hand. 218.
Mhm.
Draw. It's worth noting Rarity is at 2 power because of Buckball, though. I'll pass.
Yes. Yeah. Which means
218
that, well, yeah, once that Pinkie Pie hits the field, he's able to access pretty much all of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Just not that PFF, basically.
Right. But any other pink friend will drop it. And now he's got 2 copies of Yona and Sandbar, so doesn't even need to use PFF to find it. And he's got Tender Taps as backup in the event that I end up removing something like PFF. So that can be quite nice.
Laughter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
3
here we go.
for Yona and Sandbar.
Yep. Makes sense. So we're going to start the taxing here.
Go to score phase.
That's fine.
Attempt to confront.
Yep, that's good.
And
now, something that I'm going to be cognizant of here is trying to keep the pink requirement as low as possible. So I'm going to be looking to hit the highest power pink friend whenever I can, as one thing that many control decks, especially removal-focused control decks, like to do is to play color denial. Drawing 2 belly flops back-to-back as one of the first things that I find is obviously great.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Playing white into bodyguards so that I can flop a seashell into Yona and Sandbar is playing right into that color denial strategy, like I said.
Absolutely.
And get the unicorn out of it, still be confronting, be set up to gain AT if he goes for a face-off at mine.
Okay.
Confront. Works okay.
Yes.
Let the unicorns commence.
Mm-hmm.
Two action tokens. Draw.
In the, I guess, sort of paradigm that we set up of this being a sort of battle of removal, I think, well, Instagram's hand is lacking on that at the moment.
Yes. More on the annoyance factor here, with vexing, eccentric, more eccentric, the showy plus taxing plus throne. So there's a lot of other control type effects going on, but nothing that's actually capable of
Pay
clearing a board.
3 for another Yona and Sandbar.
Okay. And this is where I'm very, very glad to
Go to score
potentially
phase.
have that extra belly flop. That being
Mark
said, I believe I let him go for the confront here
And enter.
because now I can just put Skystar into play.
3 action tokens. Draw.
Which I think I do at home to avoid the tax. And a portal draw is also just absolutely huge right now. I don't.
If I recall correctly, you play the Skystar to the other problem.
To Trading Traditions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. For those unaware, well, yeah, we talked about Yona and Sandbar already. You can't play to...
Princess Skystar, friend to the end.
Well,
for 4 action tokens.
We forget about that at first, but...
Okay.
I think we...
cannot play that there. We'll play
Yeah, there we go.
problem.
Okay.
So play Skystar over here.
Their tax.
Dismiss second Yona and Sandbar. Feeling pretty good. Yona and Sandbar is also an
Right.
expensive friend, so can't be brought back with tender taps.
Score face. 1. Pass.
Okay.
And we've been matching each other point for point right now. Normally, I might decide not to confront as early until I felt like I had enough disruption and ETB effects to set up.
3
But
for
given that
Grandmare.
Istagrem has also moved for early confront, it's fine.
Yep.
Sure. So they are currently.
And we've seen big pink friend after big pink friend after big pink friend 3 turns in a row now, which is fine,
And
but is
score
going to
phase?
make me seriously consider how much of my removal I want to use early on this color denial strategy.
Enter.
It makes sense. Surely you got to run out of removal somehow. At some point.
Unfortunately, my only access to purple right now is through Singing Barrel. That means if I want to portal, I'm going to have to do it on my turn, which is not great. I could use a Luna's Future instead. And Luna's Future or Portal are both great right now because if I use them on Skystar, I'll actually end up getting 2 unicorn tokens out of it because Skystar has left play too.
Okay. Score face. Go for a point.
Okay.
That being said,
Okay.
I think that
3 action tokens.
I'm not terribly worried about Grandmares and would rather end up seeing a turn where Istagrem plays a resource that I can use Baby Flurry Heart to get into purple on.
Right.
Gaining 3 AT a turn means 1 for Singing Barrel, 3 for Flurry Heart, even assuming I don't hit any resource with a cost. I still have 2 AT left over and 3 purple in play to be able to portal or Luna's Future. So
2 for Mr. and Mrs. Hovington at your problem.
Sure.
Okay.
And core phase.
Yeah, score phase is fine.
Confront
So-
my
We continue matching points.
intern.
I'm not expecting Istagrem to use Mr. and Mrs. Hoofington here to prevent me from confronting, because while we are trading point for point, he'll likely eventually want me to get ahead by at least 1 so he can get that burst of 2 and flip his main.
Naming purple.
Okay.
Now I see an opportunity, though,
Return singing
where I can potentially get some purple out and have a use for it.
play.
In this case,
For 2.
I'm going to play Luna's Future.
To the end.
Okay.
For the reasons mentioned earlier. I want to say Portal is a more valuable effect because it's immediate speed.
And Portal has the same effect as Luna's Future here.
Spend.
Dropping Zecora at Buckball strategy
3.
will also be quite nice because that's where
Plan.
most of his friends are set up to confront.
Okay.
And because my main is boosted, I'm not currently confronting. So I'm not going for the DFO, and I can set up with the unicorn tokens to try to get as many AT as necessary or position myself for a face-off where I can easily win later?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Indeed. If I recall correctly,
I
I
have
think
not
we're going to
been
see
working
some
together.
fairly
At the end of the turn,
how do I
discuss
say
our
this?
play.
Mm-hmm.
Fastidious play to not DFO for
Okay.
a while here.
I'll make a unicorn token.
There's definitely a bit of face-off chicken on my mind.
Pass.
Okay.
Now,
Three
I am
action
out of AT,
tokens, draw.
and he is at 4.
Hmm?
So this is potentially a good turn, especially since now he gets to start controlling my top deck with Inspired.
Right. He did just draw into a Russian makeover.
What
Main
phase are
phase.
we in?
I'm just
Not
about to go to main
really
phase.
in need of that right now. He could use it on
Uh,
his main to get additional pink
Inspired.
for PFF.
Hmm.
There you go.
Wow. Oh yes, his main's
Okay,
+2.
let's
That's
see.
right.
Alt Shift will let you peek.
Or +1 rather.
I don't know if we'll get to see. We do not get to see what
Yeah.
this is.
Only if he puts it on top and you later draw it.
Yep. I believe the first few end up going on bottom.
Let's put that on the bottom.
Yeah.
Though it looks like there was some thought on that one, so I'd be curious if he remembers what it was.
No actions. End turn.
Okay.
Even
Okay.
in
At the end of your
Oh,
turn,
sorry.
I'll gain an action token from Zagor.
So this makes a lot
Okay.
of sense. If you're going to take
Mhm.
Gain 3. Draw.
if you're going to take a turn off from pushing for the confront, which he would definitely need to without committing a lot of extra cards to confronting Buckball because of Zakora's eccentric 3.
Okay.
Doing it at 4 points is a great break point because now I go to 5.
Go to main phase.
I end my
Exhaust
turn
Bodyguard to
1 point higher.
retire a unicorn token.
And
Okay.
I'm trying to remember, does rarity trigger at the end of your turn or the end of your opponent's?
the end of your turn.
It is at the end of your turn?
Yeah. Yeah, so unfortunately, it doesn't quite work out that way.
Yeah. If I was 1 point higher, if I was at 5 points and was going to go to 6, it would be a better time to not push for the confront. But again, he'd be spending so many resources just to get through the eccentric wall there and deny me 1 action token.
Yeah, he's not playing an aggro deck. There isn't
No.
that much to be gained from continuing to push for confronts.
And like you were saying, I am playing face-off chicken here with Bodyguard for sure, retiring extra unicorn tokens, looking at the problems. Rainbow Shine was a nice draw to get some additional purple out and some event discounts later. So nice to have. I don't necessarily want to put it up at a problem
I'll exhaust Rainbow Shine.
because I can't remember whether or not his deck happens to have any minuet-style effects to steal.
Trading Traditions into Pinkie Pie Professor of Laughter.
Okay.
And I'll put the new unicorn right in the same spot.
And now I'm on the color denial play, as there's only 1 pink friend in play.
Yes.
Confront. Buckball.
Yes.
Pass turn.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah. So unfortunately, well, yeah, we already covered this. This is going to work out
Reaction
kind of the
tokens,
inverse.
draw.
You are going to be the first person to get 4 AT.
Right. Ooh, Plaid Stripes is a very nice draw,
Main
and he
phase,
has the rec to be able to play it.
Inspired. Let's see.
I think this one is just a quick bottom.
That sounds right. Well, not that quick.
Bottom.
Okay.
Still a bit more decisive than the first one. So lots of tax effects.
For
We've got photo that looks like it's going to be dropping into
photo
play.
finish here.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking. Going for a confront.
Yeah. You are thinking, so I think you're considering a portal, probably.
Yeah, a portal on friend to the end to get rid of this would be good, especially because something else that I am worried about is a card that he has in his hand right now, which is Wake Up Call at 4 rec.
Okay.
I want to try to postpone that
Mhm.
if I can. And yeah, we're just really setting up at Buckball.
That does mean that the plaid stripes is going to be able to drop
2
in,
for
or wait, it's thrown actually.
changeling throne.
Yeah.
Okay.
And end turn.
At the end of your
when
turn,
you
priority
can-
triggers.
Right.
He'll get the flip.
Uh,
I'll get an AT from Zakora, then I'll get 4 AT, so
Yeah,
I'll be up at
but
5.
wait, hold on. That was 2 points.
So combined with the AT
Okay.
that Zakora is producing, the threat of
Yeah.
massive AT if he goes for a DFO or even a single face-off with all the unicorn tokens there, and then Rainbow Shine offering discounts, I'm definitely in the spot to win a resource acquisition war right now.
Mhm.
And that throne was one of the cards that I really, really wanted to see because I've got Flurry Heart. So 1 AT, get a 3 power purple body into play, and remove a potential, win condition or win accelerant.
Let's exhaust bodyguard and retire a unicorn over at.
Got plenty of unicorns to spare. At this point, I've basically committed myself to going for a DFO since I'm not expecting him to.
Mhm.
So I might as well try to set up both problems as much as possible and make sure that things are going to be as favorable as I think they can be. I do see at least one blackmail from him that goes on the bottom. And I believe I left an It's a Secret to Every Pony on mine. I think I decided that was okay.
Okay. I don't know if you've done that yet, but
I think I did on my last turn.
okay.
But one blackmail definitely went to the bottom of his deck.
Right. Now, given the aggro festival this tournament has been so far, this is a nice change of pace.
Yeah, I'll spend 3.
Kick back, relax, and make some unicorns,
An option over here.
Okay.
Banish your changeling throne.
Okay.
Gain 2 AT.
Okay, so Flurry Hard hits, I get a discount. Or a reimbursement, rather.
Okay.
I'll do it again.
And now my hand is running light on answers.
Cool. Score face?
Still not looking great. I've got a bait and switch. I can set that up for next turn if something goes horribly wrong. But ultimately, just decide to go for the confront and
after you get action tokens,
leave it there.
Let me know when I have priority.
Yes.
I'll exhaust Rainbow Shine.
Okay.
Pass.
Now I'm going to try using Rainbow Shine at the first priority window on each of his turns, assuming that I have not used it on my turn, because, again, can't remember if he's got any steal effects, and you might as well have that modifier floating.
Why not? Especially if she's
Main phase?
at home anyway.
Inspired. Top.
Okay, that's a top. Quite quickly.
And you'll see why here in a moment, because I believe that he sees a card or a type of card that he knows I already have in my hand. Plaid Stripes hitting here when I have no removal feels not great. Especially since I also have no eccentric to prevent him from confronting trading traditions.
It's true.
And my bodyguard being exhausted means I don't even meet the confront requirements myself, so I can't get unicorn prepared triggers and get that face off going.
2 to move my main to your problem.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, that's necessary to confront.
Go to score phase.
I'm going to.
I don't believe that is necessary to confront. Plaid Stripes is 3,
yes,
and Mr. and Mrs. Hoofington is 1. So I was a little surprised to see this. I'm not planning on moving characters over here. Bodyguard can just ready, and I'll be fine.
Attempt to confront.
He doesn't have Yona and Sandbar in play. And his main has no other relevant abilities other than additional power, just being at the problem. Maybe he's trying to put as much power there as possible to...
Ready. Gain 4.
be in a better position if a face-off happens.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm now sitting on 5 pieces of entry in my hand and currently need none of them. So it may look like I have a lot of options. That hand is non-existent.
Exhaust bodyguard. Retire the unicorn token here. I'm going to change mine.
Okay.
Right. So you said that was a secret to every pony.
And I have now changed my mind on leaving that on top because he's got his main flipped and some more aggressive bodies in play.
Bait and switch.
Okay.
Here.
And I think with that last unicorn removed, I'm hoping for a blackmail.
Okay.
Because I know I've got 2 of them.
Mm-hmm. Problem. The other thing this tournament has been is luck of problems.
Okay.
It's a secret.
Okay.
That's okay.
Pay to draw.
Mm-hmm.
6 entry.
Ah.
Do it again.
Okay.
Okay. Tempest Shadow and Grubber is a nice card. It's not going to do anything right
go
now,
ahead.
but combined with It's a Secret, can
Go
be
ahead.
very nice to play it for 3 action tokens on my opponent's turn.
Put on top.
Mhm.
Pass turn.
Not the worst.
Mhm.
Now, Istagram's still sitting there
Okay,
holding
4
on
action
to
tokens.
a few really key cards, right? He's
Go
got
ahead.
entry anytime he wants through Rush Makeover, and it's the
Draw.
cheapest entry he can find. He's got bodyguards now, which is big, especially when combined with belly flop. So one of my key targets that is in play is not going to be in play for much longer.
Main phase, Inspire.
And he's got PFF. Sorry, go ahead.
I was about to say that he's drawn his bodyguard just as your removal has run a bit low.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine on top.
Okay.
And even though I feel like I've done a pretty good job creating a control state on this board, look at the score. It is tied currently at an even number of turns.
1 for
And
wake up
that's
call.
scary, especially now that that wake-up call is in play.
No more.
Because this
actions
means
this-
additional portals, additional
well,
belly
for the score
flops,
phase.
smile, 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 things like that.
And
They're not going to be good.
no actions this turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gain an AT from Sakura.
Yeah, I guess looking at the
Ready.
amount of
Yeah,
stuff on
tokens.
your side of
Draw.
the board versus his, it can be, I guess, somewhat tempting to
Makes sense.
consider you to be ahead. But
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that's over there on Instagram side of the board is not to be ignored.
Do it again.
Okay, getting a few dead draws there. That's a pretty good one. Another piece of
Okay.
AT generation.
Bodyguards is going to exhaust
This is the self retire, right?
and eat themselves.
I believe this is a self-retire, yes. And I'm going to do this because I want to go for the DFO this turn. I want to try to push aggressively.
Put that on the bottom.
I don't remember specifically what that was. Oh,
Make a unicorn token.
gosh, what was that? That may have been the 4 pink for you, with your opponent needing 1 extra to confront for each card in their hand.
Put bodyguard into play.
Right.
This case, however, bodyguard self-retires, looks at the problem, doesn't cost me anything because bodyguard's at home, puts a unicorn into play, and I play a tender taps from my hand for 2.
Yes. Go ahead.
Despite,
It's a secret.
Yeah.
in order to get around plaid stripes.
Yes.
That's
Well-
actually pretty clever. Yeah.
Flip for face off.
Because tender taps still is cost 3, but gets the discount off of It's a Secret, brings bodyguard into play, and now here's a DFO.
Okay.
We each flip high removal events.
No triggers upon winning.
And you've taken yourself to just under the AT threshold.
Yep. exam. Went up 8, 9, 10 for winning. Musical number, that's fine. Not. Oh, I remember what it was. It was the problem that I put on bottom for him was the exhaust your main character to put an Earth pony into play, a pink Earth pony into play.
Is that banquet baking?
We'll get rid of.
Or
I believe that might be correct, or it's no, it's an EO problem.
Oh.
I think it's a 10 for me to confront. I can't remember specifically what it's called off the top of my head, but we can go back and look.
I'm sure in the stream Utopia has already named it. The stream chat.
I'll find it here. Awkward Quinceañera.
Ah, that's the one.
Again, I don't know that he's got the Rush Makeover in hand. I'm still on color denial. I don't have a lot of events that I'm going to be discounting right now, so Rainbow Shine is not as useful, and this gets me some extra unicorn tokens.
Mm-hmm. And for everyone who's not Bugle in the chat, I'll remind you that Rarity's other ability is reducing the home limit of your opponent.
Yes, that's why I'm retiring down to 3, which I believe you actually asked me about in this game.
I did, yes.
You okay with that, Jeffrey?
Yes.
Okay. So that is total number, not additional.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hand limit. So 4 unicorn tokens. I've got multiple sources of AT generation that are potentially here. I don't care about dumping these extra color entry pieces from my hand, so I can still look like I have a grip of things to do even when it's not as
4
great.
action tokens.
And now you have a legitimate lead.
Draw.
Yes.
So the what was I going to say?
Main phase, inspired.
Istagrem is under pressure to act, I guess.
And now playing catch up.
It's fine on top.
He's definitely drawing the pieces to build up a great pink board state that I'm not going to be able to completely remove,
1
though.
for Rushed Makeover.
And
on
it
my
looks like he's
main
going for it
into
this turn.
pink.
Got lots of AT.
That's fine. And this is a good strategy to keep in mind. If you have
1
had your
for
color entry
bodyguard.
or
Is that my
your
problem?
entry friends removed, and your opponent seems to be attacking your ability to get into a secondary or tertiary color,
2
it may be
for
better to wait if you have a
current.
limited
Is that
or
my
single-use piece of entry left until you can drop multiple cards in play in a single turn, as your opponent is going to be far less likely to be able to remove them all within the course of a single turn cycle, and that can get you out from under that lock. If he had played that Rushed Makeover to put a Bodyguards into play and not followed it up with Tender Taps or Pinkie Pie on an earlier turn,
2
and I had been able to
move my
attack the
main.
Bodyguards, he'd be in a much worse situation than he is right now.
Indeed.
And
So, in the same way that certain aggro decks might want to hold back and not go for
let's see.
a DFO, or not go for, a single confront at every
1
opportunity so that they can push for
belly flop
DFOs
the
instead,
Hoofingtons
you can apply the
into
same
your
principle to
bodyguard.
getting out from under entry disruption. You get a trigger first.
Learning to wait is
Okay.
such an important part of the game, really.
It is a big part of this game, yes.
And 1
And
here.
so Istagrem demonstrates it very well here. 2 over here. Manages to knock out my bodyguard. Now he's not knocking out my white entry. I've got plenty of unicorns to see to that.
Yeah, now we're getting into the unicorn
score
state of
phase.
affairs I was alluding to earlier.
You knew it was coming eventually.
Attempt to confront.
Yep.
Let's see, and I put a chorus counter on.
Now, even though I end up marking that for him,
Okay, thank you.
I believe I forget about it on my next turn here and am punished for it.
Right. That is essentially an
And-
eccentric, right?
Yes.
That ends my
It's
turn.
essentially eccentric 1 for each token that's on there. Okay. Gain 4. Counter. I'm sorry. Draw a card. Okay, I've got a Discord. I've got a Tender Taps.
You know
If
what?
I can find a
I'm
Pinky
going
Sense,
to
I'd be
do
really
an
happy.
immediate.
Sure.
Um, high alert.
Okay, sure. So this is huge.
It is a.
Playing
Oh, sorry.
playing High Alert here means that he's trying to effectively deny me a turn. Say, you're not going to be able to play anything relevant, and I'm not going to be moving things because he's got his Pinkie Pie.
Okay.
Well, Pinkie Pie and Rarity have eccentric, I believe, not showing.
Main phase.
Okay.
But because he's now at 0, he can't use Wake Up Call,
In an 18 from entrance exam.
Okay.
which means if I Wake Up Call, or I'm sorry, if I play Magical Misfire can't be canceled. And because you have to fully process the event's effects
Magical Misfire.
before
Let's see.
processing the trigger from High Alert, I can
Okay.
blank his High Alert,
On
Hmm?
mine.
On your
which is exactly what happens.
the card will fully process.
I do still have to pay the extra one for
Okay.
Plaid Stripes.
I'll draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good effort on Jeff's part.
Oh, sure.
With you having a lot of AT and him having low cards in hand, good time to have a try.
Yeah, kind of rebuild the hand after, playing some things out, get back a couple belly flops or some other key friends, Yona and Sandbar to get back would be good.
And if you had just delayed, then that was another
Okay.
point of catch up for him. But you had the answer.
Yes, I was very fortunate to be able to have that. Looking through here, I believe I'm just grabbing a bodyguard. I don't think I have any other choices.
Bodyguard back into play.
Okay.
Spend 2, move flurry.
And is right. This I assume you're thinking this is a DFO.
No, this turn I'm okay. This turn I believe I recognize.
Way down. That's fine. I have messed up.
That would be
Confront
okay because I
entrance
don't have any other pieces in hand. And if you look, I'm actually one shy of confronting that
Okay.
problem based on what its printed stats are.
That was horrible.
What I'm not factoring in
That's disgusting.
are
That was the worst line I could have possibly done.
Pinky and Rarity for the eccentric 2, and I think that ends up getting me
Tokens.
Right.
later.
Draw.
But I will go for the one confront. Maybe I just didn't think through that turn, though. I think I made a comment about not liking that because
Go to main phase.
you always hate bridging that last gap on action tokens to grant your opponent the first advantage of it.
A
5 AT's an
3
awful lot.
for dip in the pool to copy deep currents.
Sure.
Let's see. What's the command to make a copy?
Just control.
All right. So if the pool is
And then control V.
one of those versatile
Okay, and I
tools.
guess mark it.
Yep, that's fine.
Now got a good amount of eccentric at each problem.
And that goes to discard.
As mentioned, the movement canceling ability is not super relevant.
No, especially since in most turns, Istagrem has not chosen to
Now go
leave
to
up the
score
extra
points.
action tokens because it is quite expensive.
Okay. Score
It's
is fine.
2 to use their
Attempt to
replacement
confront
effect.
my problem.
You are 2 times
Or
short.
trigger, I should say.
Am I?
Eccentric 2 on Tender Taps.
Oh, then no confronts then.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Normally would be enough,
Yes.
but Tender Taps also has eccentric 2, so we're both kind of forgetting about eccentric here.
5. Draw for turn.
That is eccentric's most dangerous aspect.
Yep.
People not reading your
Okay.
opponent's cards.
What had happened last turn?
Okay, so here we go.
my
We got a Pinky
thought
Sense
the
now.
musical number was the,
I don't want to play the Pinky Sense immediately because it's going to get taxed by Plaid Stripe. But I have the ability to remove Plaid Stripes and play Pinky Sense and potentially play some other stuff within the same turn. And we'll have to see if it happens here this turn. I think it does.
I think it does.
Yeah.
That's
I also have to be careful. I still can't play events because any single impactful event I play will end up getting canceled by Wake Up Call.
3 action tokens from Minuet.
Okay.
Okay.
Minuet for 3.
You are going to gain control of
Grab
the
Plaid
Stripes
Stripes.
at the end of the turn.
Okay.
Now I'm also feeling good in case one of the cards in Istagram's hand is a Chaos Magic Blast or a Food Fight, because now those aren't currently playable.
Let's play.
Belly Flop still is, but would cost all the AT.
Okay.
Pinky Sense, play that without any other priorities, get it in play for free.
Let's play.
I think I opt for Amusement Factory here.
Amusement Factory.
Yep, there we go.
As a retire outlet for Minuet.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's a shuffle outlet, technically.
Right. Now, I think I was hoping to be able to do something fancy with Plaid Stripes remaining in play through the end of the turn before Amusement Factory, or at least through the score phase, which is where Minuet keeps her through. But I think now is when I realized that the power was not quite what I needed it to be at a musical number, because it had previously been confronted once, and there's the eccentric there. So do I opt for
Pay
another bodyguard?
to play bodyguard.
Okay.
Okay.
To get around the 2 eccentric at entrance exam, and then Amusement Factory, Plaid Stripes.
Right, this now creates 2
This is
unicorn
also Amusement
tokens.
Factory to shuffle.
Which will get me enough power and an
Okay.
AT
I'll gain 1 action token.
to
Let's see.
confront musical number.
And then shuffle.
Because I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 there, so I need 1 more currently.
That will
Mhm.
create 2 unicorn tokens.
That is a complex line of play.
Here. And
It's aggro math. As weird as that sounds, that's what it was. It's just control-colored aggro math, which often is not quite as linear.
I also get a unicorn.
you do also get a unicorn.
Yeah, I'm not feeling great about that. I forgot
Put it
that
here.
Instagram would also end up getting the benefit of bodyguards. Turns out bodyguards plays for both sides.
Let's go to score face.
When you have
Okay.
a copy of it in play.
I'd like to confront entrance exam.
Okay, so this is a DFO.
Go ahead.
3 points on the
I'd like
board
to confront musical number.
is not enough.
Go ahead.
We're
I'm going
starting
to take
face
advantage
off
of this
with
Pinky
the
Sense
action
right now.
tokens.
Flip a Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And
At the start
I
of the phase,
believe I'm going to choose to
points off
get
the
rid
face
of the wake-up call,
put
just
the
to
card
get
back on.
that out of the way.
Okay.
Okay, let's flip.
I'd rather do that than any of the other triggers. Minuet won't do a whole lot right now.
We'll banish
Mhm.
Flurry Heart and put her back into play.
I'll get more unicorn tokens for whatever that's worth
tokens, which won't matter,
temporarily.
and banishing Wake Up
I like seeing that belly flop go away.
Okay.
to gain 1 action token.
Get an AT for my trouble for flipping Discord. Feels good.
But I should still be up. You also get a unicorn token.
There used to be
I should be up.
kind of a rule
Yeah, I
that
don't
was
have anything I can
used
do.
in
Okay.
I think that's
early
game.
games, like the
It's
first
one,
2
but that's
sets, Premier and Canterlot Knights,
Mhm.
'Cause I'm only
Uh,
getting 1
where
for this.
once
Oh,
you were up
only
at
one?
about
No.
10 points or
missing the
so,
card.
Nope,
you
no
didn't
problem.
go for
Continue.
face-offs until
Score
it would
1.
get you to 15,
Mhm.
Please welcome.
because it was just so risky, even if your opponent was down several points, that they could flip into a high bonus problem and crack back immediately and just close the game out. But most of that was due to not having immediate interactive cards, and certainly not immediate interactive hard removal.
And I have a home limited.
So in this case, even though I'm not closing out the game, I am getting to 14 points.
And 14 is an important number.
14 is an important number, especially when you're playing against Control, because you know that Control's main MO is going to be, I'm going to deny you from being able to score points.
I think.
One way or another. I'm going to tax your card so you can't play a lot of stuff. I'm going to tax your movement so you can't do that. I'm going to disrupt your board, disrupt your hand, whatever it happens to be. All of it is around not letting you do the thing that the game wants you to be able to do. And if you force your opponent into a position where you say you need to play at peak efficiency because even the slightest gap I will take advantage of, you force them in a corner.
No.
Mhm.
And double bodyguard in play, lots of friends leaving play, set up a good number of unicorn tokens, kind of split my distribution across problems here.
Okay, pass turn.
Okay.
This, I believe,
5 action
is
tokens.
peak Sweetie Bells, for what it's worth in this game.
Draw.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's a lot of Sweetie Bells.
2 to move my main to your problem.
Okay.
Okay. So he's now 2 shy there.
Yes. Although, yeah, if you're Istagrem, well, confronting is good.
Mhm.
2
Finding a
to
way to not
play
lose next turn,
Pinkie Pie.
Also
Every
important.
pony's PFF.
which PFF can help with.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
Let's see what he's going to find. Any friend.
What you got?
Chooses to grab.
Um,
Knew he had something in mind. Was it another bodyguard?
I won't tell you.
I can't remember. I can't remember if we're just doing bodyguard shenanigans. It's been so long. But anything's open to him.
Mm-hmm.
well, I think I need to go with Hoofington's.
Ah, vexing. Sure. Good
Mhm.
choice.
Very logical.
Yep.
And they are going to be played right away.
2 to play them to your problem.
Okay.
Sure. Makes sense. I need far more power over at his problem. Yeah, awkward quinceanera.
That
2
is a 10, yeah.
to move this
And
deep
it's
current
a 12
to
now.
my problem.
Sure is.
That's the one.
So he's basically forcing me to have
Well,
removal.
they-
Yeah, the token one.
Yeah, the token one.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
And is he
Score phase.
going for
Score phase is fine.
Attempt to confront
Right.
entrance exam.
anything else?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's leaving
Okay.
the 2 open for deep currents if he wants
And-
to.
Yeah, either one of them. He's got 2
guess I-
copies.
Go to end step and home limit.
Clean up a couple of unicorns. Makes sense.
4, so unicorn.
Now I can go for.
Unicorn.
Yep, sounds good.
End turn.
Okay.
I can go for the Tempest Shadow and Grubber play,
Ready?
getting rid of
Mhm.
Mr. and Mrs. Hoofington. But if I do that,
2 action
and he
tokens
has
left.
either a Chaos Magic Blast, or a Food Fight, or a Belly Flop, all of those can hit Tempest Shadow and Grubber with 100% accuracy. So instead I paid to draw 1,
Well,
and
we're almost there.
sometimes you just
Yeah.
do the thing.
Okay.
That works too.
GG.
Yeah, good game.
All right. Well, that was game 1.
Yep.
Kind
A
of.
lot of trading points early. That game was actually very, very close point wise, given what the board states looked like at different points.
For well, I guess you can't quite exactly call Instagram's deck control. But for a slower style of decks, geez, we were over 20 points for sure total.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're at 23 there at the end.
So, yeah, definitely close.
Was a good first game.
Yeah.
So, we now go to core.
We now go to core, yes. And I think, and I believe this is the assumption that you had made. Obviously, Istagrem got to the finals and continentals playing a core deck, obviously, core tournament. Fluttershy Blue.
Right.
And it would seem reasonable to assume that would be his more familiar deck that he would pick down a game.
Sure. Many of us in the community believe that Fluttershy Stunning Wonder Blue is one of the best positioned decks in core right now, if not the best positioned deck in core. It has just so much value, so many lines of play you can take with Rocket Scooter and Shoe Shine and Plushy Dash, or Loyal Pony for efficient movement. A little bit of disruption, a lot of efficiency, plenty of card draw to keep your hand high off of all the dilemmas being played. It's just a really, really powerful deck that's difficult to attack in any one single direction. But it's a very popular deck. And being a popular deck, going into invitationals, when there's someone who likes brewing and going against the meta, means that someone's probably going to try to build something to beat you. Which is exactly what I did.
Oh, I suppose we should segue like that. We'll talk to you. We'll talk about your deck.
So, in full anticipation of playing against Fluttershy Blue, I built and submitted Grogar Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I feel like it's a better aggro deck, but because I feel like there are things that can be done here that will give it an advantage over Fluttershy Blue and still allow it to fill the role of an aggressive deck in core, which I wanted to run at least one of.
Right. So I can definitely see that playing against an aggro deck like Fluttershy that wants to basically run as many face-offs as possible, Treading Water is a great option.
Mm-hmm. A big reason for that, of course, being that you've got a lot of friends that have a tendency to get bigger over time, especially Smolder, who has Diligent too, and Donut Joe and First Mate Mullet, who can exhaust and get bigger themselves. So if you can just leave your friends at problems or keep moving them back and forth between problems and let them grow and grow and grow, it's going to be difficult for Stunning Wonder to have enough power, even when they're DFOing, to be able to overcome that, as the removal suite is usually pretty light.
We've seen as light as just 3 unsats, I think.
Combine that with the fact that Orange gets you access to some really good disruption in Melted Expectations and Princess Combo Meal, and of course, one of the single best cards in dealing with Fluttershy Blue, which is Monumental Evil, to kick dilemmas out of the way. It can be a really good choice. Or at least that was my thinking. The other thing that I'm really excited about in this deck is the single most card efficient, AT efficient way that you can DFO in core, and that is Stunt Dive.
Yep.
Because with just Grogar, starting with Buckball, and a single Stunt Dive, you can DFO on turn 2 for a single card.
In core, no less.
In core.
Obviously, it's easy. And
Sure, of course, with trading traditions and all that. But to be able to do that in core can be pretty nice. It also means that 2 action tokens, assuming you can have one character that either moves to a problem cheaply or immediately, like Donut Joe or First Mate Mullet letting something else move, or something sticks there with treading water, you can play efficiency games. Maybe. That was the hope. You may have noticed, despite the fact that I just talked up Monumental Evil, I've sideboarded 2 of them out.
Well, we have been burying the lead on this one quite a bit, although I'm sure we weren't being particularly subtle.
No. I guess wrong.
Yeah, and I guess, Istagrem's not here to say for sure, but it could be that he pulled a pretty monumental fake out.
I fully believe that's what he did, and I think it was the best possible play he could make. I was not expecting this. I was absolutely confident that he was going to be playing Fluttershy Blue. Now, that being said, I would not have run the other deck. I would not have run Royal Tutor against either of his lists. So that's kind of a moot point. But I was feeling really good going into this, or at least as good as I could going up against Fluttershy, and then this happened. And I'm playing against Pink for the 2nd time in a row.
Mm-hmm. A somewhat different style of, there's still plenty of removal in here, but I would be fair to say a somewhat different style of Pink.
Oh, absolutely.
My favorite deck from the tournament that I didn't highlight in the stream where I talked about my favorite decks in the tournament, this Sea Poppy Pink list. I haven't seen Sea Poppy since the Days of Harmony, I think.
It's been a while. Pages has occasionally messed with it in core, but hasn't really found a niche recently. But yeah, combined with having a blast, Sea Poppy can get you some good point acceleration, as you can guarantee a trigger off of it. And you still have cards like Party Mare, you still have cards like Wild Wonders, and you still have cards like Baby Flurry Heart that can help support it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely more of a I don't want to say pure aggro per se, but definitely a much more aggressive style than the sort of Swiss Army knife deck that Pages used to run.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of that's because of the format it's being played in. You can't run Nightmare Moon, well, in any format. You can't run Yellow Parasprite. You can't run Lead Pony Badge or things along those lines. So you've got to find another way. And in this case, that's just pushing aggressively. But like you said, still a good amount of removal, hard or soft. Belly Flop, 3 Chaos Magic Blast, 3 Smiles, plus 3 copies of Spitfire. And Baby Flurry Heart to disincentivize movement. And let us not forget the main, who can always be there and always hit something.
Yep. Yeah, this is I sometimes forget. What is the actual text on this one? It's the same as the old Piggy, except it's only on your turn, right?
Correct. At the start of your score phase, you may exhaust this card and discard any number of random cards from your hand to dismiss an opposing friend with cost equal to the number of cards discarded this way. I'm sorry, less than or equal to the number of cards discarded this way.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it's less than or equal. We'll have to check. It might be equal. Regardless, the point is the cost is discarding the cards, and you get to choose the number every time, which means even if your opponent doesn't have any friends that they want to remove, you can pitch your entire hand to guarantee a Sea Poppy trigger, which can be pretty good. What's also pretty good is being able to use Sea Poppy during your turn at your main phase with cards like Wild Wonders or Party Mare having triggered at the start of your turn, and then ready it with Riled Up to get even more triggers out of it. There is a lot of Sea Poppy support here.
No, I missed the Riled Up synergy. That's
Isn't that cool?
1 AT for, anytime you can get 1 AT for 1 point is pretty great.
Plus, you can get the 1 AT for 1 point Or you can fake out your opponent, ready the Sea Poppy, and assuming you've got the blue Unity in play, that's now 7 extra power that you have in the face-off that they weren't expecting.
Pretty awesome.
It's pretty good. It's a really good play. So Sea Poppy, Party Mare, Smile, yep, that's a good one. Kick me off of problems because replacing a problem doesn't work with Treading Water. Only works when it's solved. And Spitfire, because, yeah, Spitfire's a good card.
Absolutely.
So, not feeling great about this one.
Well, you're a game up.
I'm a game up, but this also means that we would end up, even being a game up, if I lose this game, then there's a chance that the game 3 matchup becomes
Royal Tutor versus Fluttershy. Yeah.
which is a disastrous guaranteed loss, or it becomes Zippo versus Grogar White Reanimator with Lunatax, which is equally disastrous.
Oh. So the pressure's on, is what you're saying.
So even though I'm a game up, I need to win this game or I am very likely to lose the entire match.
Well, that sounds like a good segue. Again, thank you for the segues to this match. Let us get to it then.
It's okay.
That's looking like a pretty good hand over on Istagrem's side, actually.
Starting with the Buck Ball again, he's got the Party Mare early and a Sea Poppy to start taking advantage of it. Seems good. Color entry for Angel Wings into Spitfires. Yeah, all looks great.
Meanwhile, over on your side of the board,
I'll be keeping.
I'm thinking, and it's tough here.
Okay.
The Desert Road is nice
Let's see.
and is really, really good against Pink Blue.
2
So
action tokens.
I think ultimately I decide, yeah, it's worth keeping even though the rest of the hand is much slower. And it's okay. You've still got Buckball in play, so your early play with Grogar can, still be quite
1
good.
for Party Mare.
It's interesting to see the Party Mare go to a problem here instead of going home where you can guarantee movement with it.
that's right.
Okay.
Given that, yeah, you're not going to confront with it. Yeah, if you play it to home, you just guarantee a Traveler counter for yourself.
Okay. Got a Smolder. Great draw here. I'm not going to go for Smolder this turn because it's not going to do a lot by itself. But I'll probably push for a Confront to try to get an early lead. However, I make a huge mistake. Scoreface? I should not have gone for a Confront at my problem here. And like I said, I've already said I did it. So, okay, now I just have to hope. I have to hope I don't get punished and that Party Mare doesn't end up moving to my problem. Because if Party Mare moves to my problem, then he knocks me off of 4 orange. I can't just play the Desert Road on a subsequent turn without playing another friend first. I have to spend AT to be aggressive at a problem again. I should have just moved to his problem because my mate was on its start side and I could have confronted it just as easily and not risked my own +1 power.
Yeah. And if it wasn't obvious, you clearly regret this because you did get punished.
I got punished hard. But maybe he's not going to move for the... Maybe he's not going to move his main. Maybe I'll be okay.
Well, I don't think he does move his main.
3.
He does.
4. Poppy.
Instead, he plays a Sea Poppy, which is arguably worse. Okay. For me.
Score phase.
Yep.
Confront.
Yep. I don't care about the face-off being lost here because it's not worth any points. Face-off.
Yep.
But now he's got a Party Mare at home, a Sea Poppy in play, plenty of pink. That Party Mare is guaranteed to be at 3 power on his next turn. There's a 50-50 shot. Okay. Well, that's it. And final question comes up here when I am unprepared for it.
Indeed.
Again, another big reason, blue decks, anyone who's played blue knows, you want to try to take advantage of your problem deck the turn that they come into play because Final Question is so impactful. I draw a snack stand here. It's an interesting option, but I can't do anything with it this turn that's meaningful.
I'm going to pass the turn.
Okay.
I guess the one saving grace I have here is that
Gain 2.
we're each at 1, so
Party Mare
we're only
activates.
gaining 2
I
AT.
will-
So as long as Party Mare doesn't
same
move to
even
Final
as
Question,
mine, odd as yours, and I guess
then there's a
mine.
chance I can still end up getting that bonus on my next turn.
Yes.
Indeed.
Odd.
Okay. Goes to mine.
And of course she does.
The luck is on Instagram's side right now.
And not luck. Not luck. Pages would correct you. It's belief.
That's true.
Yep.
Plenty of entry in his hand. No way I'm capable of denying color here, even with some frightened type things. So
And score face.
moves the C Poppy up. Doesn't get the bonus himself, but denies it for me.
End turn.
And is set up confronting problem.
Gain 3. Draw.
I'm hurting. Another melted is not what I want to see right now. I want to see some kind of efficiency. I want to see more smolders. I want to see a first mate mullet. I want to see a stunt dive, something.
Mhm.
And I have to be careful here as well, because I'm far more likely to need the speech for blue to keep that across multiple turns.
There's an asterisk attached to this. What?
Than I am to need it for yellow, since I only have treading water that's in yellow. But that means that treading water is going to be more expensive because I'm going to have to play
Lotus Blossom?
Lotus in order to get into there. So ultimately I decide, no, I'm going to take the risk.
Exhaust snack stand.
I'm going to hope I don't get punished. And I'm going to play Joe.
Okay.
That is the one thing that Instagram's hand is short on at the moment. Not that you know that, obviously, but...
Yes.
No.
Pass.
Okay.
And of course, the nice thing playing Lotus in this deck is, yes, it is expensive entry, but it's a 2-power body.
Same as
and
before.
that's one thing that this deck happens to need, is just bodies.
Even.
It's even this time.
Okay.
Okay.
Party Mare moves.
She moves again.
Traveler. Exhaust.
Yeah. Now, I remember thinking that exhausting the Sea Poppy there is a somewhat interesting play. Because if you leave it up, you've got 4 power at a final question. It seems like the DFO would be on.
The DFO almost certainly would be on. I'm at 0 action tokens.
Oh boy. Spicy.
Had he not exhausted Sea Poppy, and had instead chosen to move his main, now that
attempt to confront my problem,
Party Mare is at 4 power, he could have gone up to 5 points, then win the face-off, go up to 7, and I would just be extremely behind. What that would allow me to do, however, would be to move Joe at immediate speed and get larger.
I'm gonna move,
which I'm going to choose to do anyway.
Over here.
Okay.
Okay, let's split.
But this worked out okay.
Choose 2 characters, move them to random areas.
As it let me allow him to go for a face-off where there was nothing to be gained.
Traveler?
Because the bonus was 0, and it kicks his problem off.
Yep.
That's not a traveler trigger.
Does have the opportunity to get some benefit from this chaos, though.
Right.
Oh, but I'm see. Would it trigger for Party Mare? Yes, it would trigger for your own Party Mare.
So,
right.
Discussing the ability of Flurry Heart here, targeting random areas, which includes some areas that are not legal choices.
Target the Party Mare at my problem first.
Okay.
Do I choose the targets first, or
you choose the targets first?
And the Party Mare over here as well.
Okay, so choosing both of his party mayors, trying to get some extra power.
So what do you want? It's your home, my home, and the two problems.
Purely,
My home
purely
1,
fishing
your
for
home
traveler
2,
counters.
my problem
Yep, hey,
3,
makes
your
sense.
problem
I
4.
get it.
Yeah, I mean they're the most impactful choices on the board right now.
Disc buckball?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
He knows Lotus Blossom
2.
is going home. He doesn't
yeah,
want to
my
risk
home
putting
is going
Grogar up at a problem.
Okay.
It's
Then
probably the
your-
correct choice.
My other party mayor?
Yep.
That one, not a relevant choice. Second choice
4.
or second roll
Is currently at its problem.
Yeah, so nothing happens.
is currently at that problem, so nothing happens. So
that you end up winning the face-off.
all that prep work and Flurry Heart does
I
nothing.
don't think that matters.
Unfortunate whiff. But point remains. He's 2 points up. And
Okay, you're locked in here with me.
2 party bears and a sea puppy is odds on.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
Well, maybe not odds on per se,
And
but
that would end my turn.
good odds.
Okay. Let's ready. Gain 3 action tokens and draw.
So Joe survives and is at 3 power. This is great for me, as this means that I can now play a Smolder and have access to my color, if I choose to. Which I almost certainly will. But maybe I opt not to. Maybe I opt for the Desert Road play here.
Desert Road does make a lot of sense too.
I've got the wreck. I'm already down in points. I know he has minimal options for resource removal.
And pay
Oh, maybe you do both.
For Smolder.
Oh, right, because I've got the
Or I'm sorry, pay nothing for Smolder.
I've got the
Yeah.
Smolder discount off of Snack Stand.
Desert Road.
And yeah, get the Desert Road into play. Decide that's just more valuable than going for a confront this turn, so I'm 1 power shy, and I'm okay with
Okay.
that.
Let's see. Ready. 3 action tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
More party mare trick.
Party mayor
Seeing
first.
double party mare get this big this
Uh,
early with a sea
even's
poppy in
mine,
play
odd's
is just
yours.
so disheartening. I did not have a good start. I
Fine. That's fine.
messed things up quite a bit by moving Grogar up to my problem. I
This
lost
would become
bonus
a
off of
guess,
Final
but I
Quest.
would have guessed mine. So
Istagrem's been able to capitalize on this.
Even if
It's
you say
been
otherwise?
just
Yeah.
bad news
even
bears.
until I say otherwise.
That's fine.
So other party mayor. Oh,
Yep.
first power token.
Okay. Actually, no, not first power token, but that's okay. We know
And
it's going to be.
I'm arguing
Okay.
semantics here, but
It is like
Other party mayor.
interesting to me, I guess.
Even.
Compared to the other players of the
So
tournament,
mine and
you were definitely a stickler for the
Okay.
rules.
So now the power token.
Yep.
And
I said it didn't matter.
Okay, that's fine.
And what do you mean a stickler for the rules?
Well, so like, granted, this was the last game.
Draw for
But
turn.
like, we consulted the OCR definition of train traditions instead of, oh, my turn started. Oh, yes, that's pink, obviously, or whatever.
I mean, I got to be careful about that sort of thing. Bugle has trained me on that. He'll call me.
For fire friendship, declaring blue.
Okay.
Okay, so the blue's coming out now. But I'm less concerned about this because I managed to get the
Angel
Desert Road in
Wings.
play.
Yeah.
My problem.
That's
Angel
fine.
Wings, much less scary when she has no text.
Yes. Especially because I believe that Istagrem forgot about Desert Road shutting off Angel
Go to
Wings
score phase.
discount.
Score phase is fine.
Yeah. He did.
Goes for the
Attempt to confront.
Yep, that's good.
Yeah. Goes for the
And
confront, and then I
that's
believe
right.
tries to play a Spitfire here.
Let me think here for a moment.
No, I edited out the Spitfire.
Yeah.
It's my job to make you guys look good.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, I shouldn't have said anything. You should have stopped me and just said,
Ready, gain 4 action tokens. Draw for turn.
Okay, I bought a little time. And a stunt dive is nice. I'm not going to play it this turn, but it's a good option.
Let's play motivation.
Okay. Speech.
Yellow.
Into yellow. Get the discount off of Snack Stand. play Treading Water for free.
Exhaust Snack Stand and play Treading Water.
Okay.
You have the
Okay.
option, I guess, to stunt dive here
Mhm.
for the DFO.
I do have the option to stunt dive for the DFO. I might do that.
Okay.
Doesn't look like it.
Ready for action
No,
token.
it looks like I'm just going for the single confirm. Probably because I want to make use of one of the two
Start
melteds that I
with
have in
the
my hand.
party
Right now.
merit my problem.
That's fine.
Same situation.
Yep.
And you, like, well, true
Even.
that you bought time, but
Just
Istagrem did still score 2 points on last turn.
Even with
Oh, no,
mine,
you're right. You're right. Even is yours. Does not move. Do you
Does
want
not
to
move.
exhaust?
Yeah, it's
yes.
getting kind of rough to see a way that I can end up catching up here. I definitely need to somehow
And
find a
other
way to
party
go
mirror?
for a face-off and win that bonus. And then I'm going to need some other method of catching up beyond that point, because that's only going to put me even, and he's still going to have the advantage of potentially free point gain thanks to double party mare and Sea Poppy, which, as much as I would love to either exhaust or shut off either of their abilities, I don't have the priority window to be able to do so before they trigger.
To move the bigger party mare back to your problem.
Sure.
And for those counting at home, that's been three Poppy points so far.
Poppy has done some
Or face.
work. That being said, I'm sitting here
Attempt to
looking
confront my
at
problem.
Instagram's hand, and I'm very glad I played that Desert Road when I did,
Your problem is fine.
because that's effectively 4 cards that are
Attempt
just
to confront your
buys,
problem.
and one of them isn't even cost efficient.
Face off.
Okay.
So you let him take the face off.
Absolutely, I do. In this case, sure.
You flipped a 4.
If I'm not ahead in power here, I certainly can be with a melted to shut off that party mare. And that'll make Smolder bigger. It'll give me bonus points. They'll stay at a problem. So that's great.
On your party mare at
Yep.
my problem.
Okay.
Well, to exhaust it.
Okay.
Fortunately,
And
taking
I
away
will
abilities
shut
does
off the
not shut off
abilities
power
on
counters.
your
Does not.
other party mare for the turn.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure you win this face off.
Yeah, I should be way up in power now.
Let's see.
Well,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
9, 10, 11.
Versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Well, Istagrem does have a hasty Spitfire.
Or 8. Right, because that's just a 1 counter party mare.
Right.
Sure.
And I know he has the
Works
Spitfire
through
because he
Desert
tried to
Road,
play
right?
it earlier.
AC still works.
And didn't have the AT to do so because
Spitfire.
the discount from Angel Wings didn't fire.
That's fine.
Yes.
So I know he has the option to play the Spitfire here, but I've done the math.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it thinking, okay, if I get a Spitfire out of the hand,
Come on, baby.
like I either fall further behind and lose or I don't. Play to your outs. I played to my outs. I flipped high. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
This is a good momentum
You got it.
Yep.
shift.
I will score 2.
The luck has gone your way.
Before the solve step.
Yes, for the first time this game, I got a little lucky.
Sorry, we both screwed it up there. You believed.
Yes, sorry, you're correct. I had the belief. That's right. There's no luck in this game.
Exhaust.
Just who believes more.
To move Donut Joe. Oh boy, this is actually really weird.
Okay. And I'm taking a look at the problem, seeing how all this ends up getting replaced.
Yeah, you're locked in here with me. Is a little bit of extra complexity.
Yeah, I'll
but the TLDR is all that happens with Locked In Here With Me is it's still solved like a regular problem, and then the replaced element of it is that it doesn't go on the bottom, it just gets put into play, but that means that Joe gets to stick around at the same location, and this lets me split my power a little bit more efficiently, which can be good.
Yep.
So,
speaking of belief,
and yeah, again,
we've already seen what back-to-back final questions can do in this tournament.
Did you see that in Cheese and
Oh,
Ivory's game?
was it not back to back in Pancake's game or?
Slurperfest. Okay.
Oh, was it back to back? Maybe it was. You might be right.
Okay.
It may have been back to back.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay,
Goes
so
and
I've got options now.
Yes.
I feel like there's a chance I can end up getting this back to be about about even.
discard.
I could either use a stunt dive, or I can just move some characters around, go for a DFO, get the final question bonus for confront, and get the final question bonus for a DFO because I'm obviously way up in power. But then we're just doing crackback things.
Activate.
He's got 2 party mares, both of which are going to be moving to problems. He's got a C-pop bonus points. Like, it's still really rough.
It's still tough. Yeah. Istagrem does, unfortunately. I think he forgets about the Spitfire draw there.
Okay.
That ends my turn.
All right.
Yes, and I did take a look at Spitfire to make sure. Yeah, it's a May. So
Pony Pirate is it's an interesting draw because that does give you an option to shut off those party mares.
it's okay. I don't have a super cheap way of moving it, and it's not an orange friend, so I don't get the discount off of Snack Stand. So little unfortunate there.
Spend 2.
But
Move Grogar.
There are many points available to you this turn.
yeah,
Spend 2.
2 for Rogar. I'm still going to play it because it gets another blue friend into play.
Play Pony Pirate.
Okay.
And more importantly,
Scoreface.
that is actually somewhat relevant
Confront final question.
as
Go ahead.
in the event that he has a belly flop in hand.
Slurperfest.
Go ahead.
Face off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Wait, never mind. Smolder would be
Yeah.
big enough on her own, so.
Okay. Score 2.
Okay, second Spitfire I've seen now. But yeah, that's a big point. That's a big point turn.
And everything but Grogar is going
6 points.
to stay where it is.
And just like that, you are in contention. Well, we'll see what the problems are. Yeah, there's 2 bonus over there.
Let's see. How does this work with mine?
You just lift up the
And
problem.
that, just explaining again how you're locked in here with me work. Now, caught off guard, there may never be a better time for caught off guard to come into play than it has right now. Again, belief is strong because it says that opposing characters with printed power 2 or less, or opposing characters here with printed power 2 or less can't contribute their power towards face-offs. It's still a 2 bonus problem. I'm still meeting its confront requirements right now because Smolder's just gotten huge. And almost all of his power is concentrated in the party mares right now. One of which I think is approaching like 8 powered by itself. It's getting up there.
Odds yours, even I see Poppy.
I mean, yeah, even in this top-down view, that stack of +1 counters definitely has some width to it.
Yep.
3.
Rolling random trigger. Big one's going right where I want it to. Perfect.
Smaller party
Leave
mare.
a single big character right at that problem and have it not contribute any power in face-offs. Okay, 2 of them there. That's fine.
Yep.
You know, this is the turn, I think.
Draw for turn.
Istagrem has the smile, smile, smile in play.
Main phase.
Or in hand, rather.
In hand. Could go get rid of the Smolder.
Yeah. And that problem.
To move C-Poppy
Well,
up.
can't do both.
Okay.
Because one of the modes has to be search your deck or discard pile.
Oh. Well, I meant as replace the problem, to just shove that stuff home.
Sure.
And then, I guess I'm not even really thinking what the search is.
2 for Baby Flurry Heart.
Because Flurry Heart entering play is obviously much more impactful if the stuff that you've got isn't already at all its problems.
Phase.
Right. We've got yet another source of randomness here That's potentially going to grant some extra C poppy
my
points.
problem.
And
Yep. Confront
if
with
I
the-
was
fine.
in
Attempt to
Instagram's
confront your
shoes,
problem.
and that problem was not caught off guard, I probably would have gone for the same line of play, as it would have forced me
And
to
face off.
Yes.
crack
Neither of your
back and
players will
win
give their
on my next turn,
face off
which
if it's
would
caught off
be
guard.
somewhat
I
challenging.
see.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a high risk, high reward move. Except that he actually only has 7 power in this face off.
5, 6. Well, 4, 5, 6,
Yes.
7, 8, 9 plus 6 is 15 plus 2 is 17.
You have it.
Okay.
Okay. I grab the 2,
Diligent 2.
and now I can play the stunt dive. And no matter what the problems are, as long as he doesn't have a removal event in his hand, like a Chaos Magic Blast,
Moving out.
then I'll be okay. Playing the Treading Water was also very important for
And-
me earlier when Smolder came out, because
Diplomatic debacle.
that creates another
Oh,
1 cost
that's a
friend,
scary one.
which means Chaos Magic Blast is not
Um,
guaranteed to hit Smolder.
Lose.
Good point.
I'll lose the smaller party mare.
Okay. That's fine.
All right. So this should be
At the
Given that I've got the Desert Road in play,
turn.
and Istagrem had a bad series of draws following that Desert Road, where
Think about this.
there was not much in terms of immediate disruption.
I'm going to
Yeah,
exhaust
the
Donut Joe
stunt
and
dive is going to
attempt
give
move
me
Donut Joe over to moving out.
a nice
Donut Joe
option,
will just
and
go
I'm just
straight
going to go ahead and
Yeah.
move Joe over there to add yet another big body that would be capable of meeting that blue requirement by itself.
My turn.
Yes.
Ready, draw,
Gain
and
action tokens.
there you go.
may as well play that Donut Joe.
Yeah, I get the discount off of it anyway.
I will exhaust Snack Stand.
No harm in redundancy, right?
Play Donut Joe.
Game's still on.
I will.
So you score that
spend
15
2
point.
and play Stunt Dive.
And there it is.
Ooh. Okay.
Score face.
Mm-hmm.
Go for the confront.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
All right. GG. Oh.
And barely snuck in there under the threat of double party mare, sea poppy, and lots of belief.
We know the power of belief.
It's
If you didn't know yet, I hope you know now.
Pages knows what he's talking about. All right, I believe in belief. It works. It does. You just have to keep it going through the entire game. If you falter for even a moment, it will know.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a great series of games. High scoring, high interaction, good turnaround, strong play. So I really appreciated the games with Istagrem. I was a shame he wasn't able to commentate here on this recording, but I'm sure he'll have some good things to say when the video actually goes up.
Indeed. Yeah. Well, that does bring us to the end of the quarterfinal round. I'll just bring the bracket up on screen here. I already told you this when we recorded the match, but your next opponent is going to be Pancake.
Yep.
While Istagrem goes down to the lower bracket to match up with Eminently Sensible.
That's going to be an interesting match to watch.
They're all going to be interesting matches to watch. That's the beauty of the Invitational.
That's true.
Um,
I'm excited to participate still, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Small programming note. So because we're finished with the quarterfinals, the lower bracket matches are going to be starting up here in the next week or so. We have some scheduled to record. They will not be streamed. At least the first few will not be streamed. Just like the way we did it last year. And I'll just make a note that they also, they'll go straight to YouTube. There will not be announcements in Discord when those videos are posted. So, if you want to know when they come up, the only way is to go over to our YouTube channel, which me in the future is going to be posting in chat right now. Subscribe, and I guess hit the bell or whatever YouTube people say.
There you go. Ring the bell for more.
Yeah, that is the way that you'll know when the lower bracket matches get posted.
Man, and I thought I was the king of shameless plugging here. You're putting me to shame. This is great. Good stuff. Seriously, go follow.
Absolutely.
Go like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Smash that like button, as Ara would say.
Oh, not just yet. Maybe next year. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me tonight, Grandpas.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And thank you to everyone in the chat who was there with us. We'll be back next week with a semifinal match. I don't know yet which one it'll be, but we'll see.
All right.
Until then,
I'll look forward to watching.
have a good night, everyone.